Now, direct orders are one of the best ways to make money on Textbroker. This is because they usually pay you far more than the open pool and teams put together, especially if you get a really good direct order client who gives you the easiest jobs and you can make some bank. I'm Michael with WriterSanctuary, and today I'm going to give you 7 tips to keeping your direct order clients in Textbroker. So you wouldn't think that keeping direct order clients would be all that difficult. Unfortunately, too many authors approach it with a half-assed attitude. Not only will this impact future direct orders from that particular client, but it also reflects badly on you if you try to go outside of Textbroker and get your own private clients. When you get in the mindset that the client really doesn't matter, then you kind of screw yourself as a freelance writer. That's one of the things I like about using Textbroker, is that it gives you the practice to interact with the clients before you take the next step out to get your own private clients. But before we get started, if you want to learn more about Textbroker and freelance writing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So here are my 7 tips to help you keep direct order clients. Tip number 1 is follow the instructions to the letter. Now, for the most part, you'll come across articles that are pretty simple to follow. Like one of my clients, all he wants is the keyword inside the order once or twice, and you can write pretty much whatever you want. Unfortunately, I'll come across some clients who saturate the order briefing with extremely long and convoluted descriptions and requirements. But that's what they want, and that's how you should give it. Tip number 2 is to respond to orders immediately. I know a lot of people in the real world who use Textbroker as a client and will get rid of authors if they are not responsive to the orders. Now, this doesn't mean you need to immediately jump into it as soon as you get it. But, like if you're out and about and you send a message saying, hey, I'm out shopping, I'll get to this as soon as I can, that at least lets the client know that you're interested in the work and that you'll do it as soon as you can. But even if you're away from your desk, don't just let it sit there and ignore it. Personally, I have my email address tied to my smartphone, so no matter where I am, I can get a message and I can reply to emails and log in. It's kind of a pain in the ass to do Textbroker from a mobile device, but it's possible. But this way, I'm able to go ahead and let them know that I am away from the desk right now and I will get to it as soon as I can. And this tells the client that you're serious about the work and that you're interested in doing more. So always remember to respond to the order in some way immediately. My 3rd tip is to complete jobs as soon as possible. I know too many authors who will take the entire 24-hour period from a client just to write one article. And when you do that, you're really not making much money. For me, like if someone sent me a 750-word article, it'll be done inside 20 minutes. Not only does this help me make more money throughout the day, but it shows the client that I am serious about doing their work. I know plenty of clients who will hand out more work to authors who can show that they are interested in doing as many orders as possible. But yeah, like I know a couple of writers who had a 300-word article who took the entire 24-hour period. One person actually went past the 24 hours. Now, if it takes you 24 hours to write 300 words, you're not a writer. And these were some of the easier ones too, so I don't know. My 4th tip is to never argue with a client. It's like the adage goes, the customer is always right. And in this case, the customer is your client. If they want the job done a certain way, but you disagree with how it's formatted, you still have to do it the way they want it. Because once you start arguing with a client, they'll go somewhere else. Textbroker is full of thousands of writers ready for work. But once you start arguing with somebody, the conversation's over. What I normally do is if they want me to write something that is completely out of the ballpark from what I normally do, I'll complete the order and then I'll either blacklist them or I just won't interact with that client ever again. That's one of the awesome things about Textbroker, the blacklist. I've got plenty of clients on that list. But once you start arguing with a client, you give them a bad impression of Textbroker in general, so some of the better authors that are on the system will never see the work. This is because the clients will think that all the authors are like this and they'll move on to something else. So you're not only just helping yourself, but you're also helping all the other authors like myself who rely on that kind of income. I guess I'm just too much up with people. My 5th tip is to always follow through with the number of orders you can do per week. I've seen a lot of authors fail in this aspect where they'll say they can do 70 orders, but then they fail to do 1 inside of 3. This is coming from interacting with clients outside of Textbroker that use the Textbroker system for articles that I either can't write or they would rather me write something else while somebody on Textbroker writes the easier stuff. And it's crazy the number of authors that say that they can do so much work and then have a hard time just doing 1. Like when I put down that I could do 70 orders in a week, I did 70 orders in a week, sometimes more. There's nothing wrong with saying that you can only do 5 or 10. Some clients will still probably pick you up. But if you're adding 50 and 70 orders a week trying to make yourself look good and then you don't follow through with it, it just makes you look bad. And this particular client dropped several authors recently because they have a problem with commitment to the order. And a lot of clients that I deal with are businesses, so they want stuff done at a certain time. It's part of their business. Just like that with a lot of clients on Textbroker. You'll find businesses all over the place that want professional work done. And if you can't follow through with what you say you can do, they'll go somewhere else. My sixth tip is to always keep in communication. I'm big about communicating with your client. Now, you can't go too far and saturate their email with a bunch of random messages, so you don't want to do that. But approaching the client with questions, or even a couple weeks down the road asking them if there's anything else that you can do for them, stuff like that, it shows that your commitment to professionalism. And it's especially beneficial when you're in the middle of an article and the instructions look weird, or you can't quite grasp what the client's looking for, or any other question that you have. Always ask. Like I said, most of my clients are businesses, so they'll respond fairly quick. And if they don't respond, then you just complete the order like you think it's going to be done, and then just do a revision request later. Don't be afraid of revisions. I've done hundreds of them. Thousands. Literally. It's after the second revision that's when you start to panic. But yeah, always keep in communication with your clients. The more interactive you are with them, the more likely they are to keep using you. In fact, with the client that I mentioned earlier, he uses the same person over and over and over simply because the client emails him. And my seventh tip is to always offer a superior customer experience. This is all wrapped up in the customer service part. If a client is happy with your abilities and you show that you are professional and that you have superior skill, there's a good chance they'll keep coming back. But once you start slacking and ignoring messages and just forgetting about the client in general, he or she will go on to someone else. But when you're trying to make money in Textbroker, you want to be the epitome of professionalism. Plus, it's good practice. If you're professional with your clients on Textbroker, you're more likely to have the good frame of mind for when you're looking for private clients. In fact, that's what helped me get the one I have now. So always do your best to offer the best customer experience for Textbroker clients. In fact, this is why many Textbroker clients kept using me for more than a year and a half. I lost one client because they wanted to hire an in-house writer. Another client left because they wanted to do something else with their website. It happens. But the fact is that a lot of these clients kept using me for 8 months, 1 year, a year and a half. One person has me for the past, 5 years now that I've been working for them. It's not a lot of work, like maybe 1 or 2 a week, but... And a bonus tip for y'all, don't be afraid to renegotiate your price per word. Now, I know there's a lot of clients out there who want excessive amounts of research done on their articles. And they'll start off with a low pay rate per word. But once you do the article and you realize that there's just so much more to it than what you initially thought, don't be afraid to ask for increasing the price. You have to value yourself as a professional. If it's not worth your time to write, then it's better to move on and just pick out of the open pool. You've got to know your worth. And if you're making pennies per hour because you're spending too much time doing the research, ask for more money. And if the client isn't willing to give you more money, move on. There's plenty of clients out there. But don't be afraid to realize your own potential. Because even though Textbroker has a lot of really good clients out there, there's a lot of people out there who are willing to try to rob you blind. I mean, they're businesses. They're in it to make money. And if you can get the most amount of stuff for paying the less possible, you're probably going to go with it. But there's a lot of clients out there who will see value in a specific author and want more of that work. Which is why I was able to increase my pay almost 3 times with a specific client that I had. That's because they recognized my value and that I was really good at what I did for that company. They used to give me lots of money. So yeah, don't be afraid to renegotiate if you find that the work is way beyond your capability or that it just requires so much work. Because a lot of times, especially if you demonstrate that you have a really good capability of writing, the clients are going to give you more money. I can't say that every time, but the ones who you want to keep around will. Now, this video was inspired by my client that I've been talking about, and it's amazing by how many people he's come across in the author pool who just seem to not practice or want to write. They call themselves writers, but then they just sit there and either ignore the orders until they expire or pick it up and then let it expire and then promise, oh, I'll get it done, and then when they send it in, it doesn't get done. Now, being a freelance writer is more than just sitting at your desk and writing. There's a level of professionalism that goes with it, especially if you want to be successful. But telling a client that you'll get it done inside of a week and it takes you 3, you're not really a freelance writer, or at least you're not trying to take it seriously. And even though it's a content mill, it's still money. It's still part of who you are. Sorry about the micro rant. I just hate it when authors treat clients like crap, because then it makes things harder on people like me who want to make a living off of freelance writing. So, what is the weirdest thing a client has ever asked you to do as a freelance writer? Leave in the comments down below. My weirdest, and I mentioned this in a previous video, was a client wanted me to write in the aspect of a pregnant black woman. The client accepted it, so I guess I did a pretty good job, and they gave me glowing reviews on the article, so whatever. If you found the video informative, hit the like button. If you want to learn more about Textbroker, freelance writing, WordPress, or anything else I cover, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. I think that's going to do it for me today. Happy writing. I'll see you tomorrow.